Part 10. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 91. Fang Wangru faced off against several forces, and many forces and monks stood by and did not help each other. Zhang Yan and Zhou Li did not step back, they always stood behind Fang Wangru. Qi Changjai and Gu Yao did not back down either. Although she had never liked Qi Yanyan, an old student, and the two make-up things they touched in a row were annoying, but they are students of Tianfu Academy, and their positions are the same at this moment. Tianfi Yang was secretly anxious, worried that those people and horses were really going to attack Tianfu Academy. Tianru took everything in his eyes, those people just didn't get the treasure and they didn't get it in Shi Jingqing's hands, so they wanted to vent their anger on Shi Yanyan, or thought that Shi Yanyan still had some clues. She secretly shook her head at Tianfi Yang. Don't worry, although Tianfu Academy has a bad reputation, it is not a soft persimmon. Tianru's voice just fell, and suddenly a sword light swept from far to near in the sky, and a voice seemed to ring in their ears, "Who wants to touch the people in our academy? Let the old man come and meet for a while." The voice changed the expressions of many people present, and the people from Tianfu Academy showed a relaxed look. Although Gu Yao and Qi Changjai had never met the senior, they could guess his identity just by looking at his appearance. The mysterious dean of the academy, a rare Jindan cultivator in Tianlin continent, with him, Tianfu Academy can be invincible. Fine, let's go. A crisis was resolved so easily. Fang Wangru sneered at it, and when he looked back, he saw Shi Yanyan's eyes that were poisoned. Said, the world of self-cultivation has always been the law of the weak, and the Shishan Chamber of Commerce is also a follower of this principle. Your father also said that he has already avenged the revenge of the Shi family. He only wants you to live. You can do it yourself in the future. Revenge. It's hard to get to the sky. Although Tianfu College could protect Shi Yanyan for a while, it couldn't protect her for the rest of her life. Even the interior of the college was not harmonious, not to mention that Shi Yanyan was not good-natured in the past. He offended many people in the college. It is very common for people to fall into trouble. Shi Yanyan lowered her head, droplets of water fell down, stunned the ground in front of her, and now she is more humble than she has ever been. The dean disappeared after the crisis was lifted, but Tianfu Academy and his party were already safe. Even King Xiuman, who was tit for tat with Tianfu Academy, didn't say anything to Fang Wangru, and hurriedly left with his own disciples. After taking care of Shi Yanyan's injury, Gu Yao and his party also set off. While resting on the way, Qi Changjai, who was out hunting, caught a black cat and threw it to Gu Yao for him to take care of. This black cat has green eyes, and it looks horrifying when it looks at people. Very. Zhang Yan shook his head after seeing it, and Zhou Li was even more joking, saying that he didn't expect Qi Changjai to have such a side of pity for the weak. This is obviously a new cat cub, and it seems that he is still born with stunted growth. It is also very troublesome to keep as a pet, not to mention how much it can help when you become a spirit beast. Gu Yao hugged the black cat and smiled, his face full of innocence. In the eyes of others, his appearance was very suitable for the cat. It's just that when Gu Yao lowered his head and looked at the black cat, there was a scrutiny in his eyes. He asked himself that even if he didn't fully understand Qi Changjai, he could figure out 5 or 6 points. Brother Ye couldn't take it seriously. An ordinary black cat is kept as a pet, the only possibility is that this cat is not ordinary. The black cat seems to be really just an ordinary cat, but when Gu Yao just looked away. But he seemed to see a sneer in the cat's eyes, and then looked back at Ding Qing, but there was nothing. Did he see it? Or a hallucination? The corners of Gu Yao's eyes curled up, and he looked like he liked cat cubs very much. He stretched out his hand and pulled the cat's paws, pinched the soft flesh on it, and touched the soft belly. He licked the cat cub from head to tail, even the tail he didn't let it go. This time, he was sure that he really saw the anger in the cat's eyes. Ha! Fight with yourself? After all, it is still a cub, tender. When he was resting on the way, Guyao would also cultivate his pair of magic swords. Zhang Yan and the others could guess that it was the harvest in the Shi family's secret place. Harvest, so Qi Changjai used the water-type magic sword to exchange a piece of thunder-type ore, which can be integrated into his sword to improve its grade, so it is not without harvest. After merging the thunder-type ore, Qi Changjai's sword was upgraded from a middle grade to a high-grade magic weapon. All the way back to Tianfu College safely, Guyao and Qi Changjai said goodbye to the others, while Shi Yanyan was taken by Fang Wangru to make other arrangements. At least she had to find a place to recuperate first. It was impossible to leave people alone. Do not ask. Tian Firong and Little Fatty were very happy to see them coming back, because they also got a lot of news from outside the academy. They heard that this trip was very dangerous. Many monks who had been famous for a long time in Tianlin continent were planted, and many people died. We met your brother, this is what your brother gave you, and we have another share. Guyao also took out the share that he gave to the little fat man. Tian Firong was very excited as he grabbed the storage bag. He regretted not being able to meet his eldest brother, but thinking about his own situation, he felt that it was just right now. The eldest brother was protected by his aunt, so he would definitely grow up smoothly, and he would be reunited with his eldest brother in the future. When? Guyao, why did you bring back a kitten? It's still all black, but you can see a pair of pale green eyes. In the dark, seeing something that can scare people, Tian Firong put down his mood for the time being, and was squatted by the side. The arrogant black cat with a small head attracts attention. The little fat man had already discovered it, and was about to reach out and squeeze the little guy when Guyao picked it up and pointed at Tian Firong and the little fat man to introduce the cat. See, this is brother Tian, this is little fatty, you have to be called little fatty brother, you can't scratch people without courtesy in the future, don't you know? Otherwise, he. Guyao sneered and threatened. The black cat froze, his tail stood up. Tian Firong looked at it and laughed. Oh, this cat is quite fierce. Okay, I know, you and I are fat. Brother will let you order. Can you change your name? The little fat man protested. No, I think this is the right name. Tian Firong rejected. Then what's it called? The little fat man pointed at the black cat and asked. Although the little black cat looks weak, it tries to be brave. It looks like it can be knocked down with a finger, but it's good to have a pet in this yard. The place is spacious, and it doesn't cost much, but raising spirit beasts costs a lot. Brother, yeah, what should you call it? Guyao raised his head and looked at Qi Changjai, who was on the side. This cat cub was originally caught by Qi Changjai, and the cat cub kept barking on the road. A smile flashed in Qi Changfang's eyes, and he said, why don't you just call me a cat cub? Meow, the cat cub shouted furiously, protesting strongly, what kind of stupid name is this? However, the cat cub had no right to speak. The three of Guyao agreed to call it this. Tian Firong also called out one after another. Guyao laughed when he heard it. Carrying the weak and listless cat back to the inner courtyard, Guyao smiled and looked at the deaf little guy, and asked, brother, yeah, it can be said now, this little guy is not the black egg hatching. Come out, what's the origin of that black egg? Only then did Qi Changjai tell the abnormal situation at that time, and took out the storage bag with a hole on his body. I don't know when it hatched, maybe it was attracted by something in the secret place. I ran in, and then I found that several poisonous stones inside were gone, probably because it was absorbed by it. As for its origin, I have some doubts, but I can't be sure. I suspect that it, like the black nether flame marrow and Wujiao Suanzi, came from the black nether abyss, a kind of exotic beast in the black nether abyss. I heard that in ancient times there was a kind of beast called the black nightmare beast. Ferocious, wearing scale armor and walking on the flames of the underworld, The adult beasts are unmatched in the field, swallowing flesh and blood, eating souls, and also good at weaving dreams. It seems that they are powerful and omnipotent. Chi-Chang-Jai observed the kitten while describing it, and found that its two green eyes were purring, and it seemed to flash with pride, so he said, "The black nightmare beast has long since become extinct and only exists in legends. This little thing must be related to the black nightmare beast has nothing to do with it, maybe it's an alien beast with some special abilities and bloodlines." Meow, kitten lit his paws at Chi-Chang-Jai angrily. Chi-Chang-Yek flipped it under the table with a flick of his finger, and the cat purred in anger. It took a lot of effort to climb up on the table, and barked a small fang at Chi-Chang-Yek, but didn't bark anymore. He provoked him, and then called Guyao softly meow meow twice, so that Guyao soft-heartedly pinched his little ears, and the cat cub took the opportunity to lie in Guyao's palm obediently. "So small, I really don't see any threat." Guyao didn't know what to give it, so he gave him the spiritual fruit he brought on the way, and he ate it as well. When he was eating the barbecue, he was able to bite hard with his small fangs. It looked like he had a grudge against animal flesh. Guyao grabbed two spirit fruits and put them in front of the cat cub. "Eat the pad first, and then have dinner together later." The cat crawled on the table obediently and nibbled the spirit fruit. Speaking of ordinary cat cubs, this spirit fruit can never be eaten, so when he was brought back by Chi-Chang-Jai from the beginning, Guyao did not regard it as a normal cat cub, and would avoid people when feeding it, and it would eat it. The appetite is much larger than its size. A few thousand kilometers away from Tianfu College, Tianfi Yang opened a jade bottle given to him by his second brother, and saw what was inside. His heart beat a few times, and it was actually a top-grade Baiwa pill. With this high-grade Baiwa pill, he can completely break through to the 7th level of Qi refining in one go as long as he accumulates enough spiritual power. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 92. After reading all the medicinal herbs, Tianfi Yang felt that his heart was going numb, and he felt that he was rare and strange. When they came out, the brothers and sisters who came out together were sitting around and talking, and Tianfi Yang was the only new disciple who entered the door. These old disciples both attracted him and subconsciously excluded him, and did not dare to suppress it explicitly. After all, Tianfi Yang was above him. There is a foundation building elder. This time, they greeted Tianfi Yang warmly. "Junior brother Tian, I heard that an alchemy genius appeared at our Immortal Ascension conference this time. I heard that this alchemy genius did not choose Qian Valley, and it was inappropriate to leave the direct disciple of Hu Guzu, but instead entered Tianfu Academy. I heard that a lot of beauty and beauty medicinal pills flowed out from Tianfu College, which was researched by that pill genius. Is it true? I heard that the alchemy genius is still selling 9th grade high-grade pills at Tianfu College, and they are still high-grade pills. Is this true?" For a while, Tianfi Yang didn't know which one to answer. Although he didn't know much, he could boldly speculate that the genius of alchemy they were talking about should be Guyao himself. It is from Guyao. From this point of view, the alchemist who secretly sold the high-grade Baiwa pill in Shifang City was also Guyao. He felt a sense of honor, but also a little ashamed. His eyes are not as good as the second brother. He always thought that he had looked down on Guyao enough in the past, but now he realizes that if this is not a genius, no one can afford this title. "I don't know very well, but I heard the brothers and sisters talking about it. If you know that it is among the newcomers, I have already tried to get acquainted," Tianfi Yang said with a smile. "That's right, I'll find a way to get to know a future alchemist master if I change it. This is an opportunity that I can't ask for. Whoever wants to know this alchemist will be a real deal." The envy and yearning on the disciple's face made Tianfi Yang couldn't help but press the storage bag on his body. In his storage bag, there were the medicinal pills that the future master of alchemy personally refined. Tianfi Yang thought to himself, I wonder if this kind of news will be passed back to Yuanyang Town, and will the people of the ancient family in Yuanyang Town know that this alchemy genius is Guyao? If it is passed back, it must be very interesting. What the Gu family gave up was a great opportunity for the entire Gu family to take off. Tian Ru called Tian Fei Yang over and asked, the alchemy genius they are talking about, isn't that the boy from the Gu family? After thinking about it, among the newcomers accepted by Tianfu Academy, Guyao seemed to be the only one who was good at alchemy, but she felt that she had guessed wrong. After all, Guyao was a four-spirited talent. Tian Fei Yang hesitated for a moment and said, my nephew doesn't know, but Guyao's cultivation has already reached the 6th level of qi refining. Tian Ru waved her hand and said, forget it, it's unnecessary for me to ask now. Go and rest. Yes, auntie. Tian Fei Yang resigned. He subconsciously concealed the matter of the medicinal pills on his body. He could see that his aunt still did not believe in Guyao's potential and talent, so he had better not be too busy. Besides, Guyao had already entered Tianfu Academy. It is a foregone conclusion for Tianhaimen. Tianfu College. It was late at night, and Guyao, who had finished meditating and practicing, climbed into bed. When he opened his eyes again, Guyao found that he was in a fog. The fog was like cotton balls. It was different from the fog created by the ghost fog insects he had seen last time. His intuition would not hurt, so he followed one direction. Going forward, a bluestone road spreads out under your feet. The vision gradually became clearer. At the end of the bluestone road, there were 4 black pillars covered with scales. Just as Guyao was curious and wanted to look closely, a huge hunting head suddenly came over from above, making him feel the bloodbath. As long as you take a breath, you can blow yourself out of the sky. Guyao was startled and jumped back several steps. Only then did he realize that the 4 black pillars were the limbs of this monster. You, what kind of monster are you? In the next instant, the distance between him and the monster was infinitely farther away, and the bluestone road under his feet disappeared. Both he and the monster stood in the void, and a cluster of black flames appeared under the monster's feet. As the monster flew towards him, the mouth opened wide. Ignorance, child, humble 2-legged beast, I was born to raise the great black nightmare beast who is omnipotent and omnipotent in all walks of life. Wouldn't you hurry up and meet me? Black nightmare beast, Guyao Dingqing looked at it. Isn't it exactly the same as what Brother Ye described? Could it be said that what you think about every day has a dream at night, because Brother Ye said during the day, I really had this dream at night. Okay. It's alright, hurry up and leave, don't disturb my sleep, be good. The black nightmare beast was furious, its nostrils spitting fire, and it burned everything in the mountains and rivers in the blink of an eye. I am the black nightmare beast, and I will burn you to death if I don't change my words. Scratched you to death. Huh, Guyao shouted, it really hurts, but it hurts even in a dream. Hurry up and leave my dream. Of course, my dream is my own decision. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Go somewhere else to realize your middle school dream. Ah. Meow meow meow. Guyao was awakened by a burst of meowing, and woke up rubbing his forehead. The interstellar world is not like a teenager who has not seen all kinds of middle school and second diseases. He dreams of being the only one in the sky and the earth all day long. He didn't expect a monster to come to him. Arrogant in the dream. Xiaoao, are you alright? Huh? Brother Ye, why did you come here? This is Guyao's room. Of course, the formation restrictions set up in the room are not fortifying Qi Changjai. What are you holding in your hand? Kitten. Brother Ye, you are holding it? The neck will make it uncomfortable. Meow meow, the cat's meow sounded a little pitiful. Qi Changjai shook the black cat and said, what happened to you, Xiaoao? Are you trapped in a dream? As soon as he was reminded, Guyao remembered the nonsense dream he had just had, and now it is still so clear in retrospect, he couldn't help laughing. and described the scene in the dream to Chi-Chang-Jai. A monster, not much different from a middle-2 boy who is daydreaming, and a two-legged beast? Lord Black Nightmare? Happy him. The black cat's feet drooped down, looking like he was unlovable. A soft smile flashed in Chi-Chang-Jai's eyes. He noticed a strange fluctuation and rushed over. After he couldn't wake up Guyao, he found that he had fallen into a dream. Needless to say, all this was done by black cats. Ghost. Xiaoao, do you think it's only because you think every day that you dream at night? Huh? Isn't it? Guyao asked in surprise. Chi-Chang-Jai shook the black cat cub in his hand and said, if I expected it right, it should have something to do with this cub. Now it can be confirmed that it has something to do with the black nightmare beast. It is controlling your dreams, but it shouldn't be. What a difference. I believe that even if he didn't come, this black cat wouldn't be able to achieve his goals. Of course, he didn't feel relieved if he didn't watch it in person. Guyao pointed at the black cat in surprise, and thought about the situation of the black nightmare beast that Chi-Chang-Jai said, is it really it? Guyao felt that what he had experienced was unbelievable enough, but he didn't expect that there would be even more wonderful. A cat could enter a person's dream and talk to a person, looking like a stinky arrogant. He took it from Chi-Chang-Jai's hands. He took the black cat and kneaded it, grabbed its small ears and said, so, what I dreamed about just now was made by you, little guy. You made such a ferocious beast to scare me. The black cat rolled his eyes weakly. That was its mighty original body. Okay, these despicable two-legged beasts are really ignorant, and it is a shame to treat it as an ordinary cat. Chi-Chang-Jai's eyes flickered and he said, make a contract, or I won't worry about letting you stay by Xiaoao's side. Cat, what do you think? The black cat froze all over, and the cat's face could see disbelief. Meow meow meow, you stupid two-legged beast, you are also worthy of making me a contract? Be bold. A dangerous cold light flashed in Chi-Chang-Jai's eyes, otherwise. To keep a dangerous alien beast like you by Xiaoao's side? It was you who broke the rules first. If you want to reassure me, make a contract. Meow meow, the black cat cub called Guyao softly. This two-legged beast seems to be very soft-hearted, no worse than that cold-hearted and ruthless guy. Guyao pursed his lips and looked at it, shook his head and didn't say anything. Obviously Chi-Chang-Jai was helping himself, and he did it for himself. Could he go against Chi because of a little cub of unknown origin that he hadn't raised for a few days? Long night thoughts? That is of course impossible. The black cat slipped under his feet, and collapsed there with his limbs open, lying like a corpse. Guyao couldn't bear to whisper, if you don't like being restrained, you might as well leave. Since you have an extraordinary background, you should be able to survive outside. Chi-Chang-Jai's gaze towards Guyao became softer and softer, for Guyao to stand firmly on his side and trust his actions. Those irrelevant people and things in the past are actually not that important. The black cat took a look at Guyao and continued to live without love. Just when Guyao thought that the black cat was about to give up, it climbed up again with difficulty, hesitating for a while and still crawled towards Guyao, holding his fingers and opening a mouthful of fangs. Guyao was about to withdraw his hands when he heard Chi-Chang-Jai say, don't move, it's taking the initiative to recognize the master. Guyao obediently let the cat cub 11 break his fingers and the blood that came out, and then a complex circle of lines appeared and disappeared on his fingers, but after that, a relationship between him and the black cat was established. A kind of feeling, at this moment, he could sense the grief and anger of the black cat, and couldn't help touching the little head of the cub in a funny way. This is an equality contract. In the future, the cat can't do things that are unfavorable to you, Xiaoao, and you too, so I can rest assured to keep it by my side. Chi-Chang-Jai ignored the cat's angry little eyes and gave it to Guyao. Explaining. Then, Guyao wanted to say, did Chi-Chang-Jai expect that the black cat would control his dreams, so he waited for him to jump into this trap early in the morning, and used this to threaten him willingly and take the initiative to recognize his master. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 93. Guyao originally had a lot of questions he wanted to ask Chi Changjai, but in the end there was only one left. Why did you let me recognize it? Now it is certain that the cat cub has a great relationship with the Black Nightmare Beast, and it is also certain that it will benefit a lot from being recognized as the master. Chi Changjai was condescending, looking at Guyao's hair draped over his shoulders, his clothes a little messy, revealing his white and pink skin, his nose a little itchy. He looked away uncomfortably, his voice still sounded calm and very small. You are more in need than I am, and my sword is my best weapon. As an alchemist, although Guyao insisted on training his body, he was still a lot weaker in battle, but when this cat cub grows up, he can make up for this shortcoming. Even if he is not by Guyao's side in the future, he can rest assured. Guyao's safety, but this thought made him frown, and he didn't like such an idea. But no one can guarantee surprises. Guyao felt warm in his heart. When he came to this world, Chi Changjai was the best person unconditionally for him, even though the two had an extremely bad beginning. Looking down at the cat cub who felt much closer than before, he raised his head and asked again, Brother, yeah, the dark flame marrow in that secret place. The end of Wu Jiao Suanzi was heard by everyone at the time, and it was torn to shreds and no longer existed. What remained was the black nether flame essence, and there must be many people who wanted to fight it. The proud and disdainful ridicule flashed in the black cat's eyes. It was so human, but in Guyao's eyes, he thought of the mighty Zhong Er in his dream, and he couldn't help laughing out loud. Chi Changjai also said, I suspect that this brat has taken it. As long as the breath does not leak out, no one can find it. Maybe he thinks that it is still in the ancestral land of the Shi family, and maybe someone will continue to fight the idea of that ancestral land. A dignified look flashed in the cat's eyes, but seeing Chi Changjai's gaze, Kui Guyao rolled in his palm, and used his little to face Chi Changjai, ignoring this abominable two-legged beast. It didn't admit it was he was forced to recognize the Lord after being threatened by Chi Changjai. The news of Tianfu Academy is still very well informed, so all kinds of information about the destruction of the Shi family and the death of the master of the Shi family in the ancestral land with a group of monks quickly spread in the academy, whether it was going to the Chuan Gongtang, or in the collection pavilion, or it was in the commercial street, and students could be heard talking about the Shi family everywhere. Who would have thought that the huge Shishan Chamber of Commerce and the Shi family would be destroyed if they say it was destroyed, and it was completely destroyed. Thinking back to the time, Shi Yanyan, the eldest miss of the Shi family, was a popular figure walking around the academy, but now when everyone talks about this girl, they either show sympathy or pity towards her. Schadenfreude, Shi Yanyan used to be arrogant, but now not only is she the only one left, but her limbs and meridians have been cut off by others. Guyao was chased and asked twice about his thoughts on the ending of the Shi family, and he was reluctant to go outside. Staying in the yard was either practicing the manipulation of the magic sword or thinking about getting some food for the cat. The cultivation world is specialized in medicinal pills for domesticated spirit beasts. Tianfu College itself has Spirit Bird Peak and Spirit Beast Peak. Although there are some things that non-Ben Peak students can't learn, they can still get some useful things by spending some spirit stones, such as the food that spirit beasts like to eat, the elixir they like. There are also related records in the elixir pavilion, so Guyao quickly came up with a clue. The only thing to worry about is that the breeds of cats are not the same, and the medicinal pills that work on other animals and animals will have the same effect on cats. Seeing Guyao pondering the pills suitable for the cat every day, Tian Firong and the little fat man looked sour. This cat is really lucky, but is it a waste to use it on a cat? Compared with other spirit beasts, This cat cub is super fierce. As soon as he expresses his opinion, he shows his sharp claws. He has the attitude of scratching your face with blood if you say more, and is called back by Guyao. When he was on his shoulders, he still stared at a pair of round eyes, a small group of black Kyokyu, with a pair of pale green eyes. It looked so weird. Guyao, this cub seems to have more spirituality than other spirit beasts. Is it really an ordinary cat cub? I've never seen one like this before, Tianfirong asked curiously. I don't know, it was Big Brother Ye who caught it and brought it back. It should be of some use, Guyao said casually without taking his eyes off the book, and then it was a tragedy. The claws were torn, and the cat cub still admitted his mistake, staring at Guyao angrily, conveying his unhappiness. What is it supposed to be of some use? How can the dignified black nightmare be so despised by others? Guyao grinds his teeth. This little thing that is undertuned and taught, dares to climb on top of his head if he doesn't clean it up. Guyao grabbed it down and slapped it fiercely several times from beginning to end, until the black cat hair flew everywhere, and Tianfirong, who was beside him, rubbed his stomach and fell on the chair with a smile. After a man-cat battle, each side glared at each other. Guyao suddenly laughed. Okay, there will always be times when you, a cat, beg me, you wait. Guyao tapped this arrogant middle school cat with his hand, and started alchemy. The needed spirit grass has been collected by Tianfirong and Little Fatty. The reason why Guyao spent so much effort is for the cat, but in fact, it is for himself, to improve the cat's strength and let the cat grow up as soon as possible. Just a little more protection, this is also the intention of Chi Chain Jai. Guyao first made a pot of feeding elixir, which is the most used elixir in Lincoln Peak and Spirit Beast Peak. Bird or beast? Guyao made pills, but Tianfirong didn't stay to affect him. He seemed to smell the aroma of pills in the furnace. The cat cub guessed what pills he was refining. The cat's face didn't show much desire, and Guyao's mouth twitched when he saw it. Looked, and continued to focus on the pill furnace in front of him. The fragrance of the pill is getting stronger and purer, and the cat's eyes are gradually widening. If it is an ordinary feeding pill, it is almost unattractive to it. It is to coax those monsters with little ability. Is it good or not? Such a powerful beast of heaven and earth, how can it be moved by the mere spirit feeding pill? However, the top grade spirit feeding pill is different. Can this two-legged beast make the top grade pill? Kitty's eyes rolled, not knowing what to do. After refining the one-pot feeding pill, Guyao continued refining. After the pill was bottled, he put it aside, as if he was not worried about being taken away. Although the bottle was closed, the scent of Dan had subsided, but the pure scent just now still lingered on the tip of the nose, tempting the cat to swallow it. The cat scratches his chin with his paw. Do you want to eat it? Wouldn't it be too embarrassing to eat? As if it hadn't seen much good stuff. Cough, although it didn't know much when it was born, it has inherited memories. No black nightmare beast would covet the spirit feeding pill. That would be a drop in price. Absolutely do not waver. Kitty shook his head thinking so. Another pot of feeding elixir was refined. Guyao's movements became more and more skilled, and the proportion of the best elixir was also increasing. There were spiritual birds flying over the sky. After searching for a long time, I couldn't find the reason, so I had to force the spirit bird to fly away. The dangxiang that feeds Lingdan is very unique and attractive to spirit beasts and birds, but it is very common to humans, so how can you expect that there will be the best dangxiang wafting out from the bottom? That's right. The attraction of spirit birds is 5 times 10 times higher, no wonder there will be protests to rebel. Seeing the cat swaying around as if he was drunk, his eyes blurred, Guyao smiled slightly, and continued to concoct pills. This time he was concocting elixir, which can improve the spirituality of spirit beasts and birds. This pair of spirit beasts and monsters beasts are also very tempting, improving spirituality and speeding up the spiritual beast's cultivation speed. When the elixir came out, the catboy couldn't help swallowing his saliva. The voice was so loud that Guyao could clearly hear it. Guyao bottled it and said, "I know that Lord Black Nightmare doesn't like this kind of inconsistency. An eye-catching elixir, how can a mere ascension elixir be worthy of the noble status of Lord Black Nightmare?" After a while, the sky turned dizzy, and with a thud, Mr. Cat's eye fell to the ground with his feet up in the sky. Guyao couldn't help laughing to himself, and he continued to work hard. After ascending the spirit pill, he refined the Chu spirit pill, and the cat cub, who had been keeping his feet upside down, finally couldn't hold back any longer. When Guyao pinched out the pill collection formula, the cat cub screamed, and flew towards the cooling pill that was spinning in mid-air, ouch, and swallowed one of the pills going down. After swallowing, the cat's eyes squinted comfortably, but soon they became round again, staring closely at the jade bottle in Guyao's hand holding the remaining Chu Lingdan. "I want to eat" means so clear. These 3 medicinal pills suitable for spirit beasts are the choices made by Guyao after repeated deliberation. One is more difficult to refine than the other, and it is also more attractive to spirit beasts and birds than the other, especially the third. The cooling pill is a kind of pill that Guyao found in the pill pavilion. A monster with a relatively high level, and in the end he succeeded. Guyao smiled, hooked his finger at the cat, and shook the jade bottle in the other hand. The kitty recalled the smell of the medicinal pill just now, looked at the jade bottle covetously, and roared at Guyao twice, and finally crawled over reluctantly, laying down on Guyao's crossed lap, letting him go. June smashed, and then stared at the bottle again. Guyao slapped it long enough to throw the jade bottle to the sky. The cat cub took the jade bottle and disappeared. Of course, there is a contract, and Guyao can sense its position. When Guyao came out of the pill room, he found that there were several spirit birds gathered above his courtyard. Chi Changjai came over and smiled indulgently. "What kind of pills did you make? Not only are they flying in the sky, but also running on the ground, but there is a formation, those spirit beasts can't break into Area A." Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 94. As soon as Guyao heard it, he knew that it was caused by his own alchemy, but he didn't expect that just a little breath leaking out would cause such a big movement. Scratching his face and saying, "I made a few alchemy for the cat, it seems that I will have to fight it in the future. Strengthen the law, otherwise it will be unbearable. Once or twice is fine, but more times will lead to suspicion." Guyao thinks that it is because the breath of the top-grade pill is more attractive to the spirit beasts, and he does not want to disclose the refining of the top-grade pill. Chi Changjai's expression immediately became solemn. "Leave this to me, I believe those spirit beasts outside will disperse soon, we don't have to go out to do anything." Guyao nodded hurriedly. When they went out at this time, didn't they take the initiative to admit that these abnormal phenomena were caused by them? It's up to others to speculate. Guyao felt a little guilty and didn't look at the situation outside. The entrance of area is very lively. Students who come and go here find that many spirit beasts have gathered and refused to leave, but the owners of those spirit beasts have been tossed. Please communicate with their spirit beasts. The thought of wanting to eat can actually be guessed by looking at the coveted expressions they show. That is to say, there is something in the district that has a very special attraction to the spirit beasts, but what is it? They can't run into the courtyards to search, and those who can live in district are not bad for Lingxi. The students who live in district also have spirit beasts, and this day seems to be quite restless. Some spirit beasts ran out of the yard and lingered outside Guyao's yard, but they didn't dare to break in. It seemed that there was something here. The breath made them not dare to offend, but this phenomenon made their owners not suspect the people in this yard. They could walk around in Area A, but after walking around, they didn't notice anything wrong. Fortunately, after a while, the smell gradually dissipated, and the spirit beasts and birds gradually settled down. They obediently left with the master, which greatly relieved the guard at the entrance of Area A, and exaggeratedly wiped them with their sleeves. The sweat on their foreheads, they are really afraid that those students will not be able to control their spirit beasts and let the spirit beasts break into it. Some people say that there are some heavenly treasures in our area, but that day's materials and earthly treasures are only useful to spirit beasts, but we cultivators can't perceive them. Maybe it is the master who is not bad for the spirit stone. He bought some delicious food for the spirit beast he raised, and he provoked the spirit beast outside. Maybe it's an elixir. Could it be that the breath of an elixir refined by an alchemist leaked out, and this caused such a big situation? Alchemists don't all make pills in the pill room. Is there a forbidden formation in the pill room? All these leaked out and caused the spirit beasts to be restless. How good is this pill? I still tend to be a natural treasure. Fortunately, this situation only happened once, and the phenomenon of being surrounded by spirit beasts and birds did not happen again in the area. Feng's students were thinking about it. Not only did no one suspect Guyao, but some people ran up to him to try it out, but they were all fooled by Guyao's sloppy eyes. Guyao has been more careful in alchemy since then. He never thought that the sense of smell of spirit beasts and birds is much more sensitive than that of humans. What the monks didn't notice, the spirit beasts were very clear. From this day on, Tian Firong and Little Fatty discovered that the cat cubs around Guyao had become more well behaved. Although they would often show their claws and fry their hair, when Guyao called out, he immediately calmed down and used a soft, small voice. Chow Guyao's meowing, that look can make people cute, and they were itching to raise a spirit beast, but later they thought it was not practical, so they dismissed the idea. Just keeping them as pets is too wasteful. They are not Guyao who can make alchemy, Chi Change can make talismans, and there is no shortage of spirit stone envoys. Being pet spirit beasts is not very helpful to monks, but those spirit beasts are of great use. It is possible to meet but not to ask for it, so for the time being, this thought is suppressed. There is no shortage of new things in the world of self-cultivation. The Shi family's case of annihilation caused a heated discussion among the students for a while. With the news of which young monk successfully established a foundation, and which monk formed a Taoist companion, the Shi family the annihilation case gradually subsided, and Shi Yanyan seemed to disappear completely. She was no longer seen in the academy, and the students who were chasing new things gradually left her behind, as if the Shi family's annihilation case had been overturned. Past. Shi Yanyan took the task of guarding the Jianj, and there was not much reward, so almost no one wanted to go there. It was very quiet, which was suitable for her current situation. Maybe in a few years, people outside will take Shi Yanyan. I left the Shi family behind. Jolie told Guyao and Chi Change about the follow-up development of the Shi family's ancestral trip. But if I say that she may also have the idea of Jianj, after all, although the monks who enter the Jianj are stupid and crazy, they are not guaranteed to be able to reach the sky in one step, then she may have hope of revenge. Jolie saves others by himself. If he encounters the disaster of destroying his family, and sees his father sacrifice himself and die with the enemy, he will also be in pain. Guyao shook his head. Such a chance is too slim, not to mention, who is the enemy? By the way, have you found out who is behind the Shi family? The people in the academy ignored this matter when they gossip, but Guyao believed that neither the senior management of the academy nor Zhang Yan could not want to figure it out. Although he knew little about it, he also felt that the other party was like a shopkeeper. He opened a large net and covered the entire Tianlin continent. It seemed that nothing could escape the eyes of the other party. It was like a big knife hanging above his head, and it would fall on his head at some point. Jolie frowned, then lowered his voice and said to Guyao and Chi Change, I found the shadow of the Shifang City Lord's mansion. Don't tell the public about this matter, it is estimated that not many people will believe it. Guyao also frowned. On the surface, it seemed that all the forces were involved because of the treasures of the Shi family, and the city lord's mansion of Shifang City was no exception. After all, the elder he who escaped from the secret place belongs to a part of the Shishan Chamber of Commerce also fell into the hands of the city lord's mansion, but the more it seemed. It is estimated that the less people will think that the city lord's mansion is the one who has been controlling all the layouts for a long time. After all, if the city lord's mansion wants to suppress a Shi family, it should be very easy. Home shot. So what is the reason for the cost of the city lord's mansion? Guyao said, well, I can't say it, and no one will believe what I say compared with the city lord's mansion. He Guyao is an insignificant little monk. Therefore, the Shi family matter will be over in the end. Danfan. Wei Jinzi looked at the person in front of him displeased and said, this is what you asked about. Even if you don't have to ask for it, I can just ask someone outside. What's the difference between what you asked about? You bastards. What do you want? Wei Jinzi is the current youngest direct disciple of Danfan Lin Fengju. He was not admitted through the Immortal Ascension Conference, but he found a good seedling when he went out to practice. After he was brought into Danfan, he did very well. Losing to the previous brothers and sisters has always been complimented by others. However, this situation changed after the new students entered the academy, especially after Li Shurong and Lu Linga lost the challenge. Even the students on Danfan often took this new student and Wei Jinzi together. In comparison, there is sometimes debate about which is higher or lower. Wei Jinzi is not lacking in supporters, but there are also those who do not like him, so they raise Guyao, a new student, to belittle Wei Jinzi. They mean inside and outside the words, even if Wei Jinzi stands up to fight with Guyao, the one who loses it was still Wei Jinzi. Can Wei Jinzi be convinced? Of course he won't be convinced, but he has been holding back until now, not only because his senior brother Ling Qi warned him, but also because he sent someone to buy medicine pills from Guka's shop a few times, and every pill was sold for he can't wait to analyze and study thoroughly, and he often pays attention to the sales of medicine pills in Gukai's shop. After a long time, Wei Jinzi has to admit that if he stands up to compete with Guyao, he will also lose to Guyao, and the end will be bad. It will be much better than Lu Linga and the others. Because he can't achieve the success rate of Guyao's, especially the success rate of high-grade pills. For him, the appearance of high-grade pills is a very small chance, and it is not within his control. Low-grade pills are the only ones. It is a common phenomenon, but the medicinal pills in Guka's shop are of middle grade except for the top grade, and the low grade can hardly be seen. Before there was an abnormal situation in District A, he specially asked people to ask him. Without him, because Guyao now lives in District A, he can't help but wonder if any abnormal situation in District A has something to do with Guyao. Could it be a new situation created by Guyao? How to tell others? Others will think he is crazy, but he just can't help thinking like that. His subordinates felt bitter, and cautiously said, Alchemy Wei, we are incompetent, there is a black cat with a big fist next to that old alchemist. According to what we have heard, this cat is half of their return from the Shi family's ancestral land. On the way, Qi Changjai caught it and sent it to Guyao to raise and play, and he didn't see anything unusual, but I heard that the two helpers beside him asked about what spirit beasts and spirit birds like to eat from Spirit Bird Peak and Spirit Beast Peak. For food and medicinal herbs, we have also collected a batch of spiritual materials for refining related medicinal herbs, but there are no such medicinal herbs for sale in Guka's shop. Wei Jinzi frowned. When there was a lot of noise outside, he had guessed that it might be Guyao's excellent quality elixir that made the spirit beasts restless, but no one seemed to believe what he said. I think he thinks of Guyao too high and loses his sense of normality. You go down first. Wei Jinzi waved his hand. After Wei Jinzi and the others left, he also turned around and left the cave, heading for the elder brother. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 95. Tian Firong and Little Fatty would take turns to inspect the store. It was Little Fatty's turn that day, and something happened when they first arrived in the store. People from Danfan? Danfan recruited Guyao in advance and asked Guyao to report to Danfan. The little fat man couldn't help digging his ears, knowing that the people from Danfan would not give up. He wanted to get people to Danfan first. Feng again. If you take Danfan, you will become Danfan's person. Danfan has saved some face, right? Losing is also lost to Danfan's own person, and if he enters Danfan, Guyao will be limited by what he wants to do. If Danfan assigns a bunch of tasks to Guyao, how much time can Guyao have? Yes, Danfan Elder Chen heard a lot of things about Guyao, and thought that Guyao could be absorbed into Danfan exceptionally, and specially asked me to wait and inform you. The person who came to notify raised his chin slightly. A pair of you should be proud of this. The little fat man gave him a strange look and said, I'm not Guyao himself, so I can't decide for Guyao. Whether Guyao wants to enter Dan Peak depends on his own intentions, and as far as I know, it depends on which peak to enter. The wishes of the students themselves, it is a matter of two-way choice. Well, I know about this matter, and I will tell Guyao when I go back. So go back to wherever you came from, and stop being wordy. You. The person who came to bear his breath said, okay, then I'll wait. As soon as the people came and left, the little fat man was surrounded by a pair of sisters in the shop. Master Gu is really going to enter Danfan? Wouldn't he be under the control of people when he entered Danfan? But if you don't go in, you can't. I heard that you want to the advanced alchemy skills, and the alchemy recipes that are not rumored can only be obtained by entering Danfan, and although you can buy them outside with flower spirit stones, the better things are, the more expensive they are. It is also for this reason that people who want to continue to practice alchemy will try their best to join Danfan, and it is difficult to stand on their own. The little fat man used his nose to snort. Guyao needs to rely on those people with eyes on the top of his head in Danfan to be able to stand out. Even Guyao has left those alchemy masters on Dan Peak far away now. Besides, Guyao is someone his grandfather said he wanted to accept as a disciple, and it is not only Dan Peak that can learn advanced alchemy. Give me the accounts for the past 2 days. We will make up for the lack of medicinal talismans as soon as possible. You should continue to guard the store. If there is any emergency, call me or Brother Tian. Sister Hua Duo said, Guyao will handle this matter, you don't have to worry. The sisters took the little fat man away, and looked back in the store and worried. They didn't want anything wrong with the Gukka store. This job is quite good, and the salary is not low. There is a quantity regulation, they can understand this, so as not to be tricked into buying and selling by the guys in their own stores. Danfan is really bullying people, look at their faces. They will just use their power to bully others. I didn't see that after Danfan's alchemist challenge failed last time, no one has jumped out to challenge the ancient alchemist. I'm not afraid. Now I have come up with such a roundabout way, said in the end, it was they who frightened themselves first. Sister Hua fought for Guyao. After the little fat man went back, he also told Guyao about it. Tian Firong was angry when he heard it. He really thought that Guyao had to enter Danfan. Guyao, if you don't want to enter Danfan, I can actually. Guyao stopped what little fatty didn't say. He knew that little fatty was thinking of going back to his grandfather for himself. He didn't know what happened to little fatty in Qian Valley, but he must have been in Qian Valley. The situation wasn't that pleasant, and his grandfather wasn't a careful person. I didn't say I had the lineage, I had the masters. Guyao secretly said sorry to Senior Su Chen in his heart, and first borrowed his name to act as his master. Master? Who is your master? What are you talking about? Just when Guyao felt guilty, the voice of Su Chen, who had disappeared for a long time, suddenly sounded in his mind. Su Chen was also strange. He only retreated for a while, and when he came out, he heard the kid outside saying that his master was now, How could he not know that this kid has worshipped someone else as his master? Who is it? Let him take a look first, but if you can't pass him, what qualifications do you have to be Guyao's master? Guyao dripped sweat and hurriedly denied, no, there is no master. Isn't that to explain the origin of my alchemy technique, so there is an unwarranted master? Su Chen snorted with his nose, believing that he had spared Guyao. Guyao was sweating in his heart. Tian Firong and the little fat man thought about it, so it would be even more uncommon to go to Danfeng, and they would definitely suffer from their bird's anger when they went in. Dan Feng, who was in charge of the newcomer's steward, was instructed to wait left and right, and waited for the newcomer to come to report. He asked the relevant personnel suspiciously, did he really inform? Why haven't you come to Danfeng to report? The heart said that such a blind person, when he came to Danfeng, he didn't need to explain it, and he had to give him a slap in the face, thinking that Danfeng came and left when he wanted to come from other places. However, there is still no figure of Guyao. Because Su Chen finally came out, Guyao has accumulated a lot of questions about alchemy waiting to be asked, and discussed with Su Chen. This exchange is endless, except for the morning one night, when it was time to practice astral body art. There were hardly any people from Guyao, so Qi Changjai was able to knock on Guyao's door and bring him something to eat, so that he would not forget to eat and drink when he was busy. Guyao has never appeared in Danfeng. I heard that several alchemists threw a few cups in Danfeng. Gradually, some voices came out on Danfeng. Put Danfeng in the eyes, and look down on Danfeng's alchemy. It seems that someone is deliberately adding fuel to the flames behind the scenes, which makes Danfeng unanimous and disgusted with a student who believes in a genius of alchemy. The alchemist came to Guk's shop in the commercial street to give Guyao a challenge. Zhang Yan was sitting upstairs in the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, listening to Zhou Li talking about Dan Feng's situation, and smiled disapprovingly. Dan Feng is deliberately disgusting, obviously they made things themselves, and now they let them. Guyao has become a wicked person, and the people behind him are really scheming, and it is also the way for Guyao to enter Danfeng, thinking that if Guyao is blocked from Danfeng, they will be able to defeat Guyao one day. Jolie's eyes lit up, and the senior brother really hit the nail on the head. Senior brother, I heard that Guyao already had a master before he entered the academy, so it must not be a lie. Isn't it a waste of time? Zhang Yan sneered, their hearts are not big, and they have only treasured their brooms for many years. Of course, when the two sides fought in the arena, other students still got a lot of benefits. For example, in order to suppress Guyao and his Guqi shop, the alchemists on Danfeng joined hands again to increase Danfeng's supply of medicinal pills to the entire academy. And lower the price, and this time I have come up with a lot of good quality medicinal pills. There are a lot of middle-grade and high-grade medicines. Unlike before, it is difficult to buy good quality from Danfeng people unless they pay a high price. Even if it is a low-grade medicinal pill, it seems to be a reward for you. There are even alchemists refining the beauty-enhancing medicinal pills that they didn't like before, and they fought with Miaoun Pavilion in the arena. It has to be said that under such an offensive, the business of Guqi shop and Miaoyun Pavilion have been affected to a certain extent. After all, Guyao is only one person, and the alchemist on Dan Peak, accumulated year after year. Also, it can't be said that Guyao's alchemy efficiency is high, but it can't compare to those alchemists who joined hands on Dan Peak. It turned out that Gu Kai's shop had to replenish the pills once a day or two, but now it may not be necessary for 7 or 8 days. Guyao followed Su Chen, and no one urged him to make pills. He didn't even think about it, thinking that everything was normal. Tian Firong and Little Fatty came to Qi Changjai with bitter faces, but when they came, Qi Changjai was practicing swordsmanship, and the sword Qi was horizontal. Every time they watched Qi Changjai practice swordsmanship, their eyes lit up. In that place, only Qi Changjai could stay. When others left, the sword Qi still remained there and could hurt people. Finally, Qi Changjai put away the sword and walked out. The two hurried over. Brother Chi, what do you think about the store? It's not good to keep it a secret from Guyao. Chi Changjai walked and said calmly, when Guyao remembers and asks, you answer truthfully, there is no need to disturb his mood with this matter now. Chi Changjai found out that Guyao's mood during this time can be described as excitement. He used 8 of the plants he collected before going out to collect them. When they are all used up, Guyao will be able to return to normal. As for the external affairs, in Chi Changjai's view, it's just a joke. Guk's shop just affected some business and income, but how good is Danfan's reputation? Gather the power of the entire Danfan to fight a new student in the ring? How big is Danfeng's face? Tianfirong didn't have such a good calming effort as Chi Changjai, but if this continues, Guyao's reputation will also be affected. Even some repeat customers think that the price of the medicinal pills we sell is too high, and they don't even look at outside Tianfu College, where can I buy high-grade pills at this price? If Guyao really closed the shop and stopped selling pills, look at those Danfan people, will they still look like they are now? Chi Changjai frowned slightly and said, then let's wait a few more days. Anyway, no matter what happens to Danfan, the price of the medicinal pills in our store can't be reduced. Okay, just listen to you, Brother Chi. Tianfirong and Little Fatty also knew that they couldn't be fooled by Danfan. Once they were led by the nose, they would be passive in the future. In the pill room, Guyao had no idea what was going on outside. He was immersed in his own research. Just as he was about to reach out and talk to the plant, he felt empty. The cat cub jumped onto Guyao's head with a meow, and the 4 meat pads stepped on it hard, trampling Guyao's hair and sitting on his head. Guyao grabbed it with a dark face. What are you doing? Finished the pills. Su Chen looked at the black cat and asked, what's the origin of this little thing? He didn't care much about a black cat at first, but after seeing the pills it was taking, he could no longer treat it as a normal cat. How could a cat treat a pill like Chulingden? The medicine has been knocked like a sugar ball. Not afraid to explode and die. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 96. The cat seems to sense that there is another consciousness, and it meows to Guyao. Guyao was surprised and said, Senior can't see the origin of the cat. Su Chen observed it carefully again, shook his head and said, I don't know, but this cat cub seems to have a strong power sealed in his body. In the future, when this power is digested, it must be very extraordinary. Guyao is very happy now. Senior Su Chen can't see it, so he doesn't have to worry about taking the cat out. The less people take it seriously, the better. Guyao thought about it for a while, and still talked about the matter of going to the ancestral land of the Shi family. Guyao didn't mention the black nightmare beast, only the black dark flame marrow and the black dark abyss. Su Chen guessed the possible identity of the cat cub, and couldn't help but feel a little bit jealous of Guyao's good luck. You are really lucky, this kind of beast can also fall into your hands, and when the little things grow up, you will appreciate its benefits. Guyao smiled and said, it wasn't me who was lucky, it was Big Brother Ye, but Big Brother Ye gave it to me. Chi Changjai clearly guessed that the little brat was extraordinary, and still gave it to himself. The remote is most grateful. Su Chen. Tired, he didn't want to talk anymore. The materials are almost used up. Guyao can only finish the stage of research. There are a lot of materials for him to test, and there is Su Chen, a well-informed alchemist with a high level of guidance. Guyao's progress is very fast. Yes, it often makes Su Chen feel tired and unwilling to speak. Guyao, who had left the pill room, naturally knew the situation in the academy. He pinched the cat's little soft ears. Meow meow. Danfeng asked him to report. If he couldn't think of it, he would go to Danfeng to be humiliated by others. He also knew that the group of alchemists would not have the slightest affection for him, and they were not big belly. So of course he ignored it. The shop was open as usual. Even if no one bought the elixir, the salary that should be paid would still be spent on the sisters. Anyway, he now has another way to make money, and the cooperation with the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce has allowed him and Qi Changjai there will be no shortage of spirit stones in the recent stage. Tian brother, you said that the spirit grass on the list has not been collected. Gu Yao couldn't help digging his ears, suspecting that he heard it wrong. There are spirit stones and spirit grass that can't be bought. What's more, the spirit grass he listed is not very scarce, so, Danfeng's ghost again. Qi Changjai's face also turned cold. Is Danfeng trying to completely block Gu Yao? I didn't expect it to be so short-sighted and narrow-minded. Tianfirong was very ashamed. He and the little fat man couldn't even collect the spirit grass for Gu Yao. Without the spirit grass, Gu Yao couldn't make pills, and he couldn't do the various research experiments he liked. After doing things well, the remedy said that if the little fat man and I think of a solution, we will definitely find a solution. Can Danfeng still cover the sky with one hand and block all the roads? Even if the road in the academy is blocked, there is still outside the academy. Gu Yao felt the same way. While discussing the solution, someone knocked on the door. The little fat man went over to open the door and brought in Jolie. As soon as he entered the door, he handed over a storage bag. We already know about junior brother Tian and junior brother Wei. The Xingyu Merchant Guild has some connections. There is still a way to get some spirit grass. These Gu junior brothers should use them first, if they are not enough. Tell us, senior brother Zhang said that he will definitely meet the needs of senior brother Gu. This is the advantage of being bigger. You don't have to be constrained by the internal forces of the academy. If this road doesn't work, then find another way, and because of this, the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce has a more detached status in the academy. Tianfirong and the little fat man were so grateful that they burst into tears. Senior brother Zhou, you are too timely. Danfens are nothing, and they don't dare to compare with Gu Yao openly in their alchemy skills. Hands come to yin, this time I see through them myself. At the same time, it was the grass on the wall who saw through the walls. When they saw Danfeng being ruthless, they all fell to Danfeng's side, making them look down on others, and don't ask for it in the future. Jolie laughed and patted Tianfirong's shoulder. Don't forget, junior brother Gu is also the god of wealth of our Xingyu Chamber of Commerce. He helped our Chamber of Commerce earn a lot of spirit stones. How can our Chamber of Commerce just sit back and ignore it? Okay. I'll go first. Come to the Chamber of Commerce if you have something to say, don't carry it all by yourself. Tianfirong and the little fat man gratefully sent Jolie out. Gu Yao looked at the spirit grass in a storage bag and shook his head secretly. In the final analysis, Danfen is too monopolistic. The family is the only one, and no one else is allowed to threaten Danfen's status. In fact, Gu Yao doesn't know how much impact the high-grade pills sold in Guka's shop have had on Danfen's reputation and status. If it is not curbed, maybe the students who come in the future will only know about Guka's shop and Guka's Master Yao. Danfen was increasingly questioned by the students, so they had to be vigilant and try to turn the situation around. Maybe it was too high in the past, and when it was shot, it was a search idea. Jolie returned to the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce after sending the spirit grass. The voices in the Chamber of Commerce were not completely unified. This is not because someone protested against Zhang Yan. The status of the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce was aloof, and it was not worth it for an alchemist who didn't know his future and the entire Danfen. The confrontation has offended Danfeng and Lord Lin. If it wasn't for the acquiescence of Peak Lord Lin, how could Danfeng act like this? It can be seen that Peak Lord Lin is not optimistic about Gu Yao. Who called Gu Yao a spiritual root cultivator? Jolie got angry when he heard this, so what did Danfen say about what our Xingyu Chamber of Commerce is going to do? In the end, who does our Xingyu Chamber of Commerce belong to? It is Danfan's subordinate and puppet, so it should be under Danfan's jurisdiction? Jolie, you're being a nuisance, not to mention that you think Guyao can handle the entire Danfan alone? Or is he able to meet the needs of our Xingyu merchants' medicine pills alone? If he dares to say it, of course I will stand by his side without hesitation. It wasn't that he looked down on Guyao, but no matter how capable Guyao was, he was only one person, and fighting Danfeng with his own strength was like an egg hitting a stone. Yeah, Guyao was overthrown, and then our Xingyu Chamber of Commerce asked Danfeng to ask Grandpa to tell Grandma, right? Jolie sneered. There was a lot of noise below, but Zhang Yan, who was sitting in his seat, was playing with his folding fan. It seemed that no matter how loud the other people were, it would not affect his leisurely mood. The more he was like this, the quieter the noise below. In the end there was no sound at all. Only then did Zhang Yan look at them with a smile. I'm done? After that, I'll say a few words. The Xingyu Chamber of Commerce is open for business. Danfeng and Guyao are both our customers, and he buys spirit grass from us completely. It is reasonable and reasonable. Does Danfeng want us not to sell the spirit grass to Guyao? Is it in line with the principles of our Chamber of Commerce? Conform to? Of course it doesn't match. Isn't this a discussion about whether to stand on the side of Danfeng or Guyao? Seeing that they couldn't speak, Zhang Yan laughed even better. If anyone comes over from Danfeng, tell them that we are open for business, and we will sell it to whoever offers the highest price, and whoever will have a hard time with Lingxi. Woolen cloth. Tell people outside to collect more spirit grass, maybe we can make a fortune. Yes, senior brother, Jolie called out very loudly. Others have also figured out something. On the surface, it sounds very stalwart, but in fact, it is still on the side of Guyao. If the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce does not provide Guyao's spirit grass now, I am afraid that Guyao really there is no way to go, but they are completely unwilling to fall to Danfeng's side. Otherwise, once this incident is over, Danfeng will return to his original face. With the spirit grass, Guyao lost his interest in getting into the pill room. Sure enough, no matter where people go, there is always a conflict of interests. Even a high-ranking monk can't escape. There is not much difference between mortals and immortals in essence. Qi Changjai stood beside Guyao and rubbed the top of his hair. The hair that had been straightened out after being trampled by the cat cubs was messed up again. The cat was very unconvinced, and jumped on Guyao's shoulder to yell at Qi Changjai. This is its territory, and Qi Changjai can't occupy it. Qi Changjai glanced coldly at the cat, who was nearly an inch in size, and slid the back of its neck to bell it down. Said, why don't I enter Ji Unfeng, Xiaoao, you and I also enter Ji Unfeng. Ji Unfeng's status in Tianfu Academy is not the same as what he shows outside. He had already worn away the ban on the outside of the quaint jade slip, and what was left inside was an image. One person made a virtual sword, but it shattered the image of the mountains, rivers, and rivers. There was only one sword, but it was given to Qi Changjai. He was left with a great shock. He felt that the swordsmanship he had practiced in the past had nothing left in front of this sword, and it was instantly compared to slag, which also made him deeply aware of the extraordinariness of the sword pavilion. This image was deeply reflected in his sea of consciousness, and the jade slip shattered. Since then, Qi Changjai has been trying hard to figure out the swordsmanship and sword intent in this video, and he will set aside a certain amount of time every day to practice swordsmanship. Going down this road, his swordsmanship can truly be accomplished. The person in the image was the real sword cultivator he was after. The sword peak guarding the sword pavilion is naturally extraordinary. When Guyao joins Ji Unfeng with him, how can Danfeng suppress Guyao so blatantly? That is not to suppress Guyao alone, but to compare with the entire Ji Unfeng. Guyao held his chin and felt that what Qi Changjai said was not a solution, but he always felt a little unwilling. After all, we still have to rely on other forces to compete with Danfan, unwilling, in the end it is us. Weaker. Chi Changjai laughed dumbly, this world is like this, and it is precisely because we are weak that we have to keep climbing to the peak, otherwise wouldn't it be a loss of fun? This is also the same as the fun you get from pursuing higher alchemy techniques, Yaoi. For one thing, the process should be endless. Guyao scratched his head and smirked. Yes, he took it for granted. Hearing Chi Changjai say this, he was not so depressed anymore, because the words hit his heart. Standing up and stretching, the cat cub who was lying on top of him purred and rolled down. Although he didn't fall, he still called out to Guyao unhappily. Guyao picked up the cat and said, why don't we go to the Kyukyu Mountains again? I think the herbal resources there are quite rich, and the recent research has also entered a bottleneck, and it is necessary to add some new plants, maybe there can be new inspiration. He's been thinking about the removal of erysipelas recently, and has made some progress, but it hasn't achieved the effect he wanted. It's not that there are no such medicines in the world of comprehension, but the treasures of heaven and earth are extremely rare. He wants to develop a medicine or medicine that is more popular. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 97. Talking about the research progress during this period, Guyao's whole person seems to be glowing, becoming extremely vivid, and even his hair is full of joy. Hearing what he told about Chi Changjai, he couldn't help but feel happy. Haruka's emotions were contagious. On the basis of the original self-made detoxification medicament, Guyao learned from the antidote and several related elixirs, studied their elixirs, extracted the essence of them, and then continued to study and experiment, and wanted to refine a kind of medicine. The upgraded version of the detoxification medicine or the detoxification pill, this detoxification pill, in the final analysis, removes impurities in the body, and for this reason, he also borrowed the cultivation version of the detoxification pill. Su Chen, who was discussing with him, never knew that these basic types of medicinal pills could play so many tricks. The alchemy masters he had contacted in the past rarely spent much thought on these basic medicinal pills. Which alchemist does not want to keep moving forward, become a higher level alchemist, refine even higher level elixirs, and then become famous in the entire cultivation world? In the eyes of those alchemists, Guyao's actions and ideas are nothing but a waste of time and energy. However, Su Chen is not short of time now, and it is quite interesting to watch Guyao put the fantastic ideas in his mind into practice. Guyao, something happened, something big. The little fat man ran back from the outside in a hurry. Guyao was about to enter the Kyukyu Mountains with Chi Changjai again. What happened now? Wouldn't it affect his plans? Tianfirong came in from behind, and before the little fat man could speak, he said, it's because something happened in the Kyukyu Mountains. Many students in the academy were trapped in it. The few students who escaped by chance. Now they are in a coma, so there is no way to know what happened. I heard that the peak master Lin from Danfan rushed over to treat the comatose students, but there is no result yet. The little fat man nodded again and again. Yes, not only our academy, but also Kyukyu. The situation is not much better than our academy. I heard that Kyukyu is not as good as our Tianfu Academy in alchemy. Tianfu Academy has an alchemy peak support. This is also one of the reasons why people on Dan Peak have always been proud of themselves. Guyao said in surprise, has there been rumors of wind before? Why did such a thing happen suddenly? Chi Changjai groaned slightly and said, is it related to the vision that appeared in the Kyukyu mountain range? Our college and Kyukyu have sent people to investigate. The little fat man said, I guess it is too. It should have happened a month ago, but this happened only today. It seems that the results of the investigation are very unsatisfactory. Guyao didn't know anything about the vision, so now he heard them talk with a blank face. The only thing he knew was, brother, yeah, It's not good to enter the Kyukyu Mountains now, right? Tianfirong and Little Fatty hurriedly stared at the two of them. Chi Changjai wouldn't have brought Guyao into the Kyukyu Mountains in such a limelight. Now that place must be the focus of the two forces, and the situation is unclear, which means there is danger. What? Chi Changjai patted the top of Guyao's hair, and smiled lightly. When the situation becomes clearer, relax for a few days and read other miscellaneous books. Okay, Guyao was obedient. Tianfirong and Little Fatty were also relieved, afraid that Guyao would want to enter the Kyukyu Mountains regardless. The unconscious students are all arranged in Danfan, and many senior officials of the academy are also waiting here. The academy sent people into the Kyukyu Mountains, not only because of the occurrence of the vision, but also because of the investigation of the forces behind the destruction of the Shi family. Some people subdued the ghost fog insects, which made the people of the academy wonder if there was something else in the mountains. Therefore, the people who led the team into the Kyukyu Mountains to track down were not ordinary students, and involved several high-level officials of the academy. If something happened to these students, it would be a big blow to the academy. Liu Feng and Cai Fengju were in a hurry outside. One of his two disciples was in a coma and the other didn't know his whereabouts. Neither of them could afford to lose them. The disciples of the foundation building stage were so easy to train, for the mission of the academy. He sent out these two foundation building disciples, but who would have thought that this would be the result? Peace Master Cai, don't be impatient. I believe that Feng Master Lin will have a way to rescue your disciples. When they wake up, they will naturally know what they have gone through, and the rest will have a way to rescue them. Others comforted Road. Of course, Fengju Cai understands the truth, but it's not that the person involved can understand his mood at the moment. Lin Fengju has been in for so long without a result. If Master can't do it, who else in the college can do it that day? I'm afraid I'll have to ask for help. A disciple of Peak Master Lin next to him muttered unhappily in a low voice, seeing that others doubted his master. Shut up, Ling Qi, the eldest disciple of Peak Lord Lin, scolded sharply. What a mess at this time. The faces of other high-level officials are also not so good looking. What is the identity of this student, and dare to refute Cai Fengju in front of so many of them? Cai Fengju is the lord of Liufeng. Thinking of what happened in the academy during this period, some people feel in their hearts. Secretly, as expected, Danfan's heart has been raised, and even the peak master of Liufeng can take it seriously and ignore it. To be able to say such a thing shows that he doesn't have much respect for Cai Feng Master in his heart. But they couldn't say anything more at this time. Right now, there is still a place to seek for Lin Fengju and Danfan. This feeling really makes these big guys feel aggrieved. At the same time, Zhang Yan and his people were also wandering under Danfan. The disciple of Cai Fengju who was trapped in the Kyukyu Mountains was his friend, and the other was in a coma. He rushed over, worried, and had a rare solemn expression on his face. He stayed here because he wanted to get the news as soon as possible. Jolie hurried over. Senior brother Zhang, how is the situation? Has senior brother Chang woke up? Zhang Yan shook his head. No news has come down yet. Jolie looked at the Danfan people who blocked them outside, and said angrily, Danfan is so deceiving. Even senior brother Zhang, you are not allowed to enter. It is not because the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce did not listen to Danfan some time ago. This caused these people to deliberately discuss senior brother Zhang here. Zhang Yan also didn't expect Danfan's people to embarrass him in such a place, so he could only sigh. It doesn't matter if you don't go up, as long as Lord Lin Feng can rescue people first. How is the situation in the Chamber of Commerce? I went into the Crooked Mountains myself. Senior brother Zhang, I'll go with you. Jolie knew that the brother's relationship with Zhang Yan was no trivial matter, and Zhang Yan couldn't just sit back and ignore it. Zhang Yan patted Jolie on the shoulder and said nothing more. It didn't take long for something to come out of Danfan. Zhang Yan hurriedly looked up, but it was too far away to know what happened. After a while, someone came down and came to inform Jiang Yan. This person usually has some personal friendship with the Chamber of Commerce, and secretly told Jiang Yan and others, the Peak Master failed to wake him up, and the Peak Master Cai and our Peak Master Lin almost fought. Get up and get stopped by other Peak Master elders, things seem to be very tricky now. Even Peak Master Lin didn't wake anyone up. Jolie's first reaction after hearing this was this. Fortunately, those students who were loyal to Peak Master Lin were far away and didn't hear Jolie's words, otherwise they would have to make trouble with him, and the people who came to report the letter were also very embarrassed, but the result was that they were still unconscious. I heard it from a distance, I don't know the specific situation, maybe it will take some time to wake up. Jolie wanted to say something, but Jiang Yan stopped him and said to the man, let's go back first, and if there is anything else, report us in time. Okay, don't worry, Senior Brother Jiang, I will, the man responded quickly, and it is indispensable to have good dealings with the people of the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce, so why bother with them? Because it is related to whether they can enter the Kyukyu Mountains. Gu Yao has also kept Tianfirong and Little Fatty paying attention to the situation outside, so he knew that no one was rescued, and he knew that Senior Brother Jiang Yan was also very concerned about this matter. It seemed that Senior Brother Jiang Yan was very concerned. His important friend was also trapped in it, making him unable to calm down. Gaio, the people from Qingxiumen are here. Tianfirong rushed back. This is the second day of the incident, and there is still no good news. At this time, the atmosphere in the academy is somewhat similar to that of Shi Yan. When Yan was just arrested, she was quite agitated, and most of the people honestly huddled in the academy. Qingxiumen and Tianfu Academy are in competition, but they also cooperate. After all, they are adjacent to each other. However, Gu Yao has been in the academy for so long. Let's go out and see, Gu Yao asked Qi Changjai. Alright, there was nothing left or right. Qi Changjai left with Gu Yao and the others from Area A. Gu Yao was squatting on the shoulders of the cat cub, a small group of black Kyokyu. If they didn't speak, they would not attract attention. When they came out, they happened to meet people from Qingxiumen who were heading towards Danfan. A lot of people gathered under Danfan. After a while, they saw Jiang Yan and Jolie also rushing over. There are many well-informed people in the academy. The people who gathered here were talking about the accident in the Kyukyu Mountains, whether it would spread, and whether it would have any impact on Tianfu Academy. Senior Brother Jiang, Senior Brother Zhou. Jiang Yan smiled when he saw Gu Yao and his party. You are here too, have you seen the people from Qingxiumen? Gu Yao nodded, seeing that they went in. Did Qingxiumen send people over to ask Danfan for help? Can you confirm what happened now? Poisoned. Jiang Yan took a deep breath and said, it seems to be poisoning, but there are many types of poisoning, and it is probably a toxin that ordinary antidote pills can't take effect. Is Junior Brother Gu a little interested? Senior Brother Jiang, Qi Changjai said lightly with his arms crossed, Xiaoao is not suitable to be involved in this kind of trouble. Jiang Yan understood Qi Changjai's maintenance of Gu Yao, and said, I understand, I don't mean to let Junior Brother Gu come forward, but I ask someone to get some blood or other things from their bodies, so Junior Brother Gu may be able to distinguish first. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 98. As long as Gu Yao wasn't put in front of the stage, and Qi Changjai saw that Gu Yao was very moved when he heard it, so he didn't try to stop him. The people on Danfan were not prepared, and they didn't want to harm the unconscious people, so after bribing a few people, Jiang Yan got what he wanted smoothly and delivered it to Gu Yao in person. Sighed. Gu Yao did not avoid Su Chen in this matter, but made a request from the beginning that he hoped Senior Su Chen to help together. Although he was a master of pharmacy in the interstellar world in his previous life, the world of this self-cultivation world is far more vast than his previous life. There are many things that he has never been exposed to. He will not rely on the ability in his previous life to be self-righteous. Otherwise, what is the difference between him and those alchemists on Danfan? After a step-by-step extraction process using a self-made instrument, Guyao got a tube of strange blue liquid in his hand. "Senior, is this the illusory demon liquid that caused those students to fall unconscious?" Su Chen observed the outside through Guyao's eyes. "Yes or no, although it has been extracted many times, it is still not pure, but it is not easy to achieve this step. It is a pity that I want to refine the detoxification of illusory demon liquid." "Dan, you're not good enough at this level." When Zhang Yan brought the blood from the unconscious students for the first time, Su Chen immediately recognized the cause of the coma. It was because they had absorbed a special poison, the illusory demon liquid, which was colorless and odorless. It melted into the air, was inhaled into the body without defense, and it was too late when it was discovered. The illusory demon liquid, the most poisonous, is that it can corrode a cultivator's consciousness little by little, and then destroy a person's sea of consciousness. So after identifying it at a glance, Su Chen would not allow Guyao to use his own consciousness to touch this thing, lest he contaminate himself. The illusory demon liquid, the illusory demon vine that produces it, is the juice in the illusory demon vine. They should be fortunate that they encountered only 1,000-year-old illusory demon vine, otherwise they would not be able to get out of the illusory demon vine's range, and would become the nourishment of the illusory demon vine. Of course, it is extremely difficult for the illusory demon vine to break through 1,000 years, and it needs special growth conditions. After listening to Su Chen's introduction, Guyao guessed, this means that there is a place in the Kukyu Mountains where the illusory demon vine grows, and they just broke in by mistake to cause this result. Was this a man-made incident or an accident? What happened? The previous vision should be related to this. Su Chen hadn't seen the scene, so he couldn't tell whether it was human or accidental, but he said, actually, the illusory demon liquid has another effect. What is it? Guyao asked curiously. What kind of role made Su Chen not say at first, and now he is still a little hesitant. Have you heard the legend of the ancient 100 tribes? Su Chen asked. Guyadian said differently, I've read some books that it was mentioned as a legend, but what does it have to do with the 100 clan? Su Chen sighed and said, in ancient times, there was a special race, I have only seen records in books, it is called the illusory demon clan, and the illusory demon clan is naturally good at planting illusory demon vine, and extracting the illusory demon liquid from it to improve their cultivation level and mutual understanding. The enemy is fighting, but let alone the illusory demon clan, it is the illusory demon vine. I have never seen it in my life, and I never thought it would appear in such a place. Guyao, remember when I said that a female cultivator seemed to have a special bloodline? Guyao's pupils shrank slightly. Yes, I remember the senior said it. It was Bai Shiu who entered the academy with them. Bai Shimei is very good at making delicious flour cakes. Now that I think about it, I will buy them specially. Snack to eat? Su Chen said, I guess she is one of the remnants of the ancient 100 tribes. Of course, it is very likely that her bloodline is very thin, and she is better at serving flowers. It may also be a shelter for these remnants of the Tianfu Academy itself. There are more than a few special bloodlines. That female nun, don't you find it, Guyao? Discover. What should Guyao say? Guyao scratched his head in confusion. He was also a member of a special bloodline. He came to this Tianfu Academy by accident, but the bloodline in his body was not so easy to open. The original uncle left a method, but several of the things he needed were rare treasures of heaven and earth. He was lucky enough to come across one at that auction and photographed it, but he didn't have any clues about the others. Su Chen continued to speculate, it seems that this Tianlin continent is somewhat special. Maybe this is the last place left behind by the ancient 100 tribes, but the cultivation environment here is getting worse and worse. Maybe after thousands of years, These special bloodlines will disappear. Exhausted, Su Chen felt a little regretful. He was very excited when he first guessed this kind of speculation. He had the opportunity to see the legendary ancient hundreds of clans, even those with thin bloodlines. It is said that some races are good at planting all kinds of spiritual flowers. He is good at planting spirit grass, which is an innate talent skill, which is not the same as today's spirit planters. Cough cough, Guyao quickly pulled back Su Chen's divergent thinking. Senior, we are talking about the illusory demon liquid, and the possibility of clearing the illusory demon liquid to save several unconscious cultivators. Oh, Su Chen's voice was full of regret, as if he still wanted to continue discussing one or two things. It's easy to handle, but it's not easy to handle. If the illusory monster clan is there, it's very easy to resolve the crisis on those few people, but it's still like that. It's not easy to detoxify. Maybe you can try it when you build a foundation. Isn't it possible to use other means? Guyao asked. You can give it a try, Su Chen smiled. Of course, Guyao has to try. It is not his habit to give up without trying, and Su Chen does not understand the world of his previous life. Although it is said that people in the interstellar world cannot fly to the sky with their physical bodies, they can achieve longevity through cultivation. The world also has its own peculiarities, not to mention that his spiritual power seems to have innate supernatural powers compared to his divine sense. He is the Zerg, the natural enemy of human beings in the interstellar world, which is somewhat different from the bugs in the cultivation world. Zerg, research on pharmaceuticals also has its own uniqueness. Mental power seems to be the most mysterious existence. However, in the battle with the Zerg, medicines related to mental power trauma and mental power repair have been developed long ago, and have been continuously improved by future generations. After coming to the cultivation world, Guyao did not give up his research. There are similar medicinal pills in the cultivation world, but they are not accessible to low-level alchemists, and the required materials are also very rare. Guyao sometimes wondered, could it be because the level of civilization is so high that the alchemists only focus on the pursuit of the Dao and ignore the needs of the lower level? Guyao has been staying in the elixir room to conduct various experiments, discussing with Su Chen from time to time, and gradually, Su Chen's attitude has become more serious. A road comes, but where it will go in the future, he can't guess. Qi Changjai is responsible for reminding Guyao to train in the morning and evening, and is responsible for Guyao's eating and drinking. Danfeng. Lin Fengju, someone woke up. It was a disciple sent by Xiumen who woke up the students guarding the unconscious cultivators hurried to report, and the other people who received the news were also excited. Unexpectedly, they were disappointed by the result. The disciple was awake, but suffered from delusional disorder. An ordinary person will not be far from death by then. Zhang Yan was also disappointed when he heard the result. Jolie looked at him worriedly and said, "The dean has personally asked about this matter, and has sent an invitation to Kui Yang, asking Master Hu Gu to come to the academy to help. Maybe Master Hu will have some help. The way, besides Guyao, maybe there will be results. To be honest, there is nothing that even peak Master Lin can do." Jolie's expectations for Guyao are not high, but even if it is not big, maybe there is a 1 in 10,000 chance. Now that Master Hu Gu is here, Lord Hu Gu's alchemy technique is higher than that of Lord Lin Feng, and there may be salvation. Zhang Yan walked back and forth twice, then stopped and said, "I'll go to Junior Brother Gu's place to have a look. You stare at the people below and step up to collect those materials. There are many things that Guyao needs. Zhang Yan is under pressure to let them people to collect." "Yes, I will." Zhang Yan knocked on the courtyard where Guyao was, and as soon as Sui Tianfirong entered the inner courtyard, he heard the exclamations from the Dan room, and he couldn't help speeding up. "What's wrong? Is there any progress?" Zhang Yan hoped earnestly. For some reason, compared to Dan Feng, his expectations for Guyao were higher. Even if the sword goes slanted, the result can be obtained. Qi Changjai was standing beside Guyao. Guyao was shaking with a transparent test tube in his hand, and the liquid in the test tube was gradually turning red. Senior brother Zhang Guyao still had a look of joy on his face. Qi Changjai nodded to Wei Wei when he saw Zhang Yan calling, and his eyes quickly returned to Guyao. Senior brother Zhang, have you heard of the illusory demon liquid? Guyao handed the test tube to Qi Changjai. This time the result was the most ideal, but whether it would be successful or not would have to be tested on the poisoned. Zhang Yan's face shuddered. Illusory demon liquid? He murmured, could it be that the illusory demon liquid among them is? No wonder there is such a symptom. Since you know about it, junior brother Gu, can you solve it? Guyao hesitantly said, whether it can be solved, it depends on whether anyone dares to try it. After all, I have never been exposed to this thing before, and I only rely on the blood brought by my senior brother to study, and I can't say how effective it can actually be. Okay. Zhang Yan was overjoyed. Junior brother Gu, you give me the medicinal pill, and I will find someone to take it. It will never be worse than the current situation, right? Guyao nodded, yes, no matter how bad it is the current situation, and there will be no worsening results. Guyao still has confidence in what he has researched. He feels that there is a 70–80% chance of being able to remove the poison from those people, and the rest is the conditioning and training after the injury. Maybe he wanted to restore people to the way they were. Zhang Yan was even more delighted. Thank you, junior brother Gu, let me do it. Guyao did not delay any longer. After sorting out the recipes he had determined, he turned on the pill furnace to make pills. Qi Changjai invited Zhang Yan and others out of the pill room and waited outside. Whether the antidote is in the form of a potion or an elixir, this is not a problem for Guyao, so a pot of elixir was quickly refined, and Su Chen sighed in the space. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 99. Danfan. After receiving the letter from Qingxuman and Tianfu Academy, Lord Hugu rushed over with a few disciples. Lord Lin and Elder Gan of Qingxuman personally welcomed Hugu and his party into the room. Huguzu didn't pay much attention to it and said directly, "You're welcome, let's let Hu see the people first, and also ask Lin Fengju to tell me about the injured people first." Hugu's attitude made Tianfu Academy and Qingxuman's cultivators quite fond of it. These days, the two parties are not without results. Not to mention Qingxuman, Tianfu Academy has been established for a long time, and there are countless records in various books. Find similar situations, but knowing the result makes it more tricky. Illusory demon liquid from illusory demon vine. Master Hugu rubbed his beard's hand for a while. Is the illusory demon vine still not extinct yet? Who thought it was already a legend? Yeah, I didn't expect this thing to still appear in the depths of the Kyukyu Mountains, and some students and Qingxuman's disciples are trapped in it, and their deaths are unknown, but if the illusory demon liquid can't be resolved in a day, the two of us will no longer be able to send people forward. Go on an adventure, Lin Fengju explained. Huguzu hurried to the place where the comatose were placed. Huguzu's research on various medicinal herbs and spirit herbs was better than Lin Fengju's. Under his busyness, the unconscious monk's situation stabilized and curbed the worsening trend. This also made the academy and Qingxuman seniors a little relieved. Sure enough, Master Hugu did not have a false name, and he had a few more brushes than Master Lin Feng. Huguzu's two disciples also came with him. Huguzu went to the pill room specially arranged for him, leaving the disciples to stay in the place of the unconscious cultivator to prevent any changes. After Sang Shuo came here, he was complimented everywhere, and while he was complacent, he didn't look down on this Tianfu Academy. I thought how powerful Lin Fengju of this Tianfu Academy is, and in the end, I didn't ask our master to take action to stop the injuries of those few people. Wan Saiking is also quite complacent, that is, Tianlin continent, when it comes to alchemy, who can beat Qian Valley and our master? But has my brother heard something? There are many monks outside now. Said that the person who secretly sold the high-grade Baiwadan at the Immortal Ascension Conference is now in this Tianfu Academy, and I heard that they have opened a shop, and they sell a lot of high-grade Dan. This was deliberately mentioned in front of her, which made Wan Saiking wonder if someone was deliberately ostentatious. After all, the master said that he wanted to accept that person as a disciple. On second thought, he felt that it was fake. If there is such a person, how can it be? Would you like to come to this Tianfu Academy instead of choosing to enter the Qian Valley and worship under the master? Anyone can see which one has a better future. Sang Shuo also didn't believe it, raised his eyebrows and said, then when we have time, let's go out and take a look. The two talked about other things. During the period, someone went in and out of the room behind them. Some people wake up, some people wake up. Sang Shuo and Wan Saiking glanced at each other, one went in to check, the other called master. Huguzu immediately left the pill room and rushed over, worried that the monk who suddenly woke up was the same as the previous situation, and the previous treatment was all useless. Lord Lin and Elder Gan from Qingxiumen also rushed over at the first time, and when they entered the door, they asked, "How is it? How is the person?" The person lying on the bed opened his eyes. Although he lost a lot of weight and looked weak and his face was dark, his eyes were obviously much clearer than those of the person who woke up before. His eyes lit up when he heard the question from the person who came. It didn't worsen, but it got better. Who looked at this place just now? Has anyone come in? Has anyone given them anything? What does Lord Hugu mean? Lord Lin and Elder Gan glanced at each other. Is this the person who was secretly rescued? Sang Shuo and Wan Saiking were also stunned, and they hurriedly walked over and said, "Master, it turns out that the people who took care of them on Danfan walked around, and no outsiders came over. The disciple has been here all the time. Is Master wrong? Is it? Is the medicine that Master used before working?" Sang Shuo said this, and also believed that if other people had a way to treat them, why would they go all the way to Qian Valley for help, and let the Master come here in a hurry? Lord Lin Feng and Elder Gan also looked up at Lord Hugu, wanting to get the exact answer from him. However, Master Hugu had a good idea of his own treatment methods, and ordered to bring everyone who has come and gone here immediately. If anyone has used anything for this cultivator, you will know if you ask. Although Feng Julin was stunned, he still did as Huguzu said. Soon, his eldest disciple Ling Qi brought everyone over. Play with his face. After everyone arrived, as soon as Master Hugu spoke, one person's expression clearly showed a strange expression, while the others were at a loss. The person who showed a strange color was left behind, and the others stepped aside first. The person said in disbelief, "It really works? Can it really save people?" Lord Lin hurriedly asked, "What kind of medicine did you use for him? How dare you use medicine without consent? Can you take responsibility if something goes wrong?" Lin Fengju, don't be impatient, Huguzu came out to stop him, and looked at the monk with a gentle attitude. Do you still have the medicine pill you gave him? Can you show it to Hu? The man nodded again and handed over the remaining medicinal pills on his body. Hugu opened the jade bottle and poured out a dark red pill. Despite everyone's resistance, he scratched some powder and tasted it, and his eyes lit up again. And immediately asked the person who took out the medicine pill, "Who is the person who brought the medicine pill here? Did you explain how you want to take it?" The man obviously got the order, and he honestly confessed, "Senior brother Zhang Yan sent it over." He explained that he needs to take 5 capsules every 6 hours, and then see if the follow-up situation needs to be continued. He also explained the matter of smuggling the blood of the comatose before, otherwise he would not be able to explain why others could prepare an antidote. It's Zhang Yan? But he's not an alchemist, so how did he get rid of the poison of this illusory demon liquid? It's someone else he's looking for. Who is Zhang Yan? Can you come to him right away? Who? I am very interested in this medicine pill. Huguzu didn't feel that he was being embarrassed, but was very interested in the medicine pill in his hand, and couldn't wait to wait. I want to sit down with the refiner and have a good talk. Peak Lord Lin has not done much. The disciples and students on Dan Peak, such as Ling Qi, know that Zhang Yan made the move, but their faces are ugly. First, it is because Zhang Yan acted like this under their noses and regarded their Dan Peak as a where? Second, the people of Danfeng, including Lord Lin Feng, didn't develop an antidote to save people, but Zhang Yan did it. Said to be the medicinal pill provided by Zhang Yan, and people from Danfeng who knew Zhang Yan immediately thought of Gu Yao. Could it be the antidote developed by Gu Yao? How can it be? How old is he? Even if he learns alchemy and alchemy at birth, it is impossible to grow to this level, right? But aside from Gu Yao, a person whose talent in alchemy was invisible, there was no other alchemist around Zhang Yan, so who would it be if it weren't for Gu Yao? Although he felt that Dan Feng had been slapped in the face, Ling Qi had to personally bring someone to find Zhang Yan. After all, there were still many people lying in bed waiting for the life-saving medicine pill, and those trapped in the mountains were unknown. If you want to go in and save people, you must bring a life-saving pill. And when Hugu mainly saw this person, they had to go and invite him over. Star Moon Chamber of Commerce. Senior Brother Zhang? Brother Zhang has been gone for a while, and Senior Brother Zhang personally led people into the Kukyu Mountains. I'm afraid I won't be able to catch up now. Senior Brother Ling is looking for Senior Brother Zhang for the medicinal pill Zhang. Senior Brother explained it early in the morning, as long as Danfeng needs it, it will be delivered immediately. The people who stayed in the Chamber of Commerce saw Ling Qi coming, and explained the words Zhang Yan left before leaving. He went into the Kukyu Mountains. Ling Qi couldn't help raising his voice, and immediately realized that Zhang Yan was probably going in to save people, and yes, he has that life-saving and detoxifying pill, so he doesn't need to be afraid of the illusory demon liquid inside. Of course you don't have to worry about getting stuck in it. Yes, we can't stop Senior Brother Jiang's decision, the person who stayed behind said with a sullen face. At this moment, someone brought the medicine pill, which was exactly what Danfeng needed. The person who stayed behind immediately handed it over to Ling. Disparate hands. Ling Qi looked at the jade bottle in his hand with a very complicated mood. Zhang Yan just expected that the medicine pill he sent would save people. So he decided that he would come over to ask about the medicinal pill, and he had prepared the medicinal pill early for him to take it. Ling Qi felt that he was walking step by step according to Zhang Yan's arrangement, which was very uncomfortable. Holding the pill bottle, he didn't return to Danfeng immediately. After thinking about it, he still asked, "Can I ask who brought out this pill?" The person who stayed behind said truthfully, "It's Gu Yao, Gu Alchemist, and Brother Qi," and they left together with Zhang Shixian, because Gu Alchemist was also very interested in the situation there, but when Gu Alchemist was leaving, he handed over the alchemy recipe to him. Our Xingyu Chamber of Commerce has full discretion and will not delay the treatment of poisoned monks. The Danfeng people who came with Ling Qi all showed a look of astonishment, and a voice echoed in their minds at the same time, "How is this possible?" Danfeng Lin Fengzhi failed to research the antidote, so he asked Gu Yao, a small qi cultivator, to find it. It seems that Master Hugu is also very interested in the refiner of this medicine pill, so is this little cultivator's medicine technique really that high? Ling Qi pursed his lips for a while, as if trying to digest the news, then clasped his fists and said, "Thank you, I'll send the medicinal pill back first." As soon as Ling Qi and the others left, the students who stayed in the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce quickly began to discuss, did this medicinal pill rescue the people on Danfeng? The person that Lin Fengji couldn't save was saved by the medicinal pill refined by Gu Yao. Oh, Gu Yao is really amazing, as expected of a genius alchemist who can defeat Danfeng. Maybe it is the person who Hu Guzu has said to be his apprentice. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 100. It is no exaggeration to say that Hu Gu is the first person in the alchemy technique of the Tianlin continent. He is indeed profound in alchemy techniques. At a glance, he can see that although the elixirs brought before and after are the same, they come from the hands of different alchemists. Very big. If he was still confused about the ingredients of the medicine pill at first, he quickly recognized the spirit grass used in the medicine pill he took later, but there were also a few flavors that he was not quite sure about, which seemed to be unfamiliar to him. Material. From the point of view of Dan Li, this medicinal pill, which Gu Yao named Hongxian Dan, looks a little immature, but the subtlety of the use of some of the spirit herbs makes Hu Guzu see it. It turns out that in the prescription of the medicinal herb, there is still such a way of using the spirit grass. It has to be said that it is a different way, and even the bottleneck that has been trapped in the main pill technique of Hu Gu has begun to loosen. Hu Gu's opinion is that he is happy. When he knew that the refiner was a young alchemist who first entered the academy through the Immortal Ascension Conference, and he was no longer in the academy, he was very sorry. He wanted to sit down with the refiner of the elixir immediately. I don't think it's too long to discuss the last 10 days and 10 nights. Before there was no better way, Lord Hu Gu naturally recommended that Lord Lin Feng and Elder Gan use the red profound pill to detoxify the poison of the illusory demon liquid. Dan Fang concentrated on his research. The other high-level officials of the academy also kept an eye on Danfeng. Hu Guzu's words were naturally known to them, and they asked about the ancient alchemist's situation. When they got the detailed information, they were all shocked. Just in their eyelids beneath the child, there is actually such a talented alchemist hidden, and he has been provoked by Danfeng before, and he is suppressed if he is provoked. Looking at Danfeng's actions now, it is too petty. How the people of Danfeng do things, they can't even tolerate a new student. They actually make people get stuck at the source of the spirit grass and make people unable to make alchemy. It's no wonder that the students of Danfeng are not good at each alchemy technique. Did you see that the one who lived with this ancient alchemist was Qi Changjai, the sword cultivator who asked Elder Yi to ask the dean before, so it's no wonder Qi Changjai refused to leave. Obviously he knew that Gu Yao was in alchemy. Talent. Everyone is saying that this Gu Yao is a talent with 4 spiritual roots, and it is difficult to grow, but according to the latest news, his current cultivation base has reached the peak of the 6th level of Qi refining, and the next step is a high-level Qi refining cultivator. Compared with other students with better qualifications, this kind of cultivation speed is not much inferior. Maybe he has taken a lot of medicinal pills, but according to his current pill technique, as long as he continues to maintain it, foundation building should not be a problem. Others may be stuck on cultivation resources, but Gu Yao has such pill techniques. How much does he want? Medicine pills and resources are not a problem, so how could such a person fail to build a foundation? Several disciples of Peak Master Lin gathered around Ling Qi, including the youngest disciple Wei Jinzi. How could they not pay attention to such a big thing? And their first thought was, is there another person behind Gu Yao? Alchemist, this red profound pill was also researched by that person, but Gu Yao just used it to gain fame and attention. Even their master was helpless, asked an unknown little alchemist to solve it. It's a big joke in the world. And to actually sneak his hand into their Danfeng through Zhang Yan, it was clearly done with ulterior motives, just to wait for this day. One by one, they were denounced Gu Yao, who made their Danfeng lose face, and Zhang Yan and the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce behind him. At this moment, a cold snort sounded at the door, and the disciples turned their heads quickly, and quickly stood up to respectfully call. Person, Master. Humph, I didn't expect that my Danfan disciples are people who can't afford to lose. Stop your little actions, otherwise you will only make yourself a joke, saying that someone from Lin can't teach disciples, only a bunch of bullying guys. Master, I'm sorry. They all confessed their mistakes and begged for mercy. They obviously just wanted to raise Danfan's name and teach those who don't know what to do. How could they think it would develop to this level? Peak Master Lin swept around. The disciples who had satisfied him in the past were not pleasing to the eye now. He asked a new student to compare these disciples, including his peak master, and he was in a good mood. It's better to focus on improving your alchemy skills and cultivation, and don't make Danfan smoky. Master, this disciple is wrong. Ling Qi honestly admitted his mistake. He realized that he was really wrong, and felt ashamed. Incomparable. As soon as Lord Lin left, these disciples hurriedly sent out a message, and all the previous instructions, either express or implied, were withdrawn. The movement between Danfan and the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce could not be concealed from the Academy and various forces. The news spread that Gu Yao had developed the Red Profound Pill and successfully rescued the comatose students. This result was personally approved by Hu Guzu. Let Gu Yao once again become the focus of the students' attention. Someone wanted to visit the courtyard where Gu Yao lived, but was told that the four of them had left the academy and entered the Kyukiu Mountains, so the two students who took care of Ling Tian couldn't get in or out of Gu Yao's courtyard, so they wanted to talk to Gu Yao. Those who are in a relationship with Haruka, wait. What I regret the most is that when Danfan suppressed Gu Yao, he did not hesitate to abandon Gu Yao's side and stand on the other side of Danfan. He wanted to go to Gu Yao's people as soon as possible, but he was nowhere to be seen, even Guka's shop. Only Sister Hua is still looking at the store, and she only sells the medicine pills and magic talismans in the store, but she can't do other things. As a result, the goods in the store are sold out, and Tian Firong and others are not there, so they have to temporarily close it. Shop. Tao Yu saw Guka's shop closed upstairs. She couldn't help laughing, and at the same time exclaimed, I really didn't expect Gu Alchemist to come this far. He's so young. It's no wonder that some people question the other person behind him. There are masters, and the genius is unbelievable. Du Lingde folded her arms and said coldly, if they can't do it themselves, they question the ability of others. Genius is destined to make them look up, but there is no way to compete. Tao Yu said in surprise, do you believe it was the Red Profound Pill that was developed by alchemist Gu alone? Du Lingde sneered, why don't you believe it? There will always be some people who can do things that others can't do in their entire lives. Tao Yu was deeply moved. Yeah, fortunately we have always been on the side of the ancient alchemist. Even if the ancient alchemist left, our Miaoun Pavilion's beauty pills are not enough to sell. Why don't we learn the Xingyu Chamber of Commerce and put the pill recipes together? Buy it by profit sharing. Of course, you also need the medicinal pills made by the ancient alchemist himself. The quality of the medicinal pills from the Xingyu Merchant Guild is a lot worse than that of the ancient alchemist. This is the difference. The ready-made pills are all given to others. The pills made by others are far less than Gu Yao himself, let alone develop and research these pills by himself. The gap is not too big. As the direct disciples of Hu Guzu, Sangshuo, and Wan Saiking, the mood of the two of them is also not very good. Before, they thought that a certain alchemist was trying to attract publicity, but they were immediately slapped in the face. Having received their master's personal approval and applause, at that moment, in addition to wanting to take back the previous words, there was a feeling of being ridiculed by the red fruit. Hu Guzu is not enough to attack his own disciples, and ask them to inquire about everything about Gu Yao. It is better to get a few medicinal pills made by Gu Yao himself, but they can't help but obey. Temperament, once it is about medicine and medicine, their master can become extremely devoted, leaving all the trivial tasks behind. In the past, they thought this was an advantage. When others in the valley couldn't find master's head, they naturally demanded it from them, so their status in Qian Valley was quite high, but now, they wish they didn't come out with Master. Huguzu doesn't know what other people think, just analyzes the medicinal pills left by Guyao. In fact, this approach is somewhat inappropriate without the consent of the medicinal master himself. It is equivalent to stealing other people's medicinal formulas, but he just can't control what he wants. Pondering pill recipes and refining techniques. Qingxiumen's elder Gan also secretly inquired about Guyao and learned that he entered Tianfu Academy at the Immortal Ascension Conference. Rough people can give it to him, and he was in a trance that he had seen such a young man beside Fang, but he didn't take it seriously at the time. The comatose monks on Dan Peak were rescued one by one. Guyao's estimated dose of medicine was correct. After taking the 5 medicinal pills, the illusory demon liquid in the body was almost cleared, so the Academy and Qingxiumen added more to the Xingyu Merchant Guild. The list of Hongsuandan, with Hongsuandan in hand, does not need to worry about the danger in the Kukyu Mountains. The most important thing is that with the awakening of the unconscious cultivator, what happened inside, the high level has also known. The Academy did not send anyone out to rescue the students trapped in the mountains for a day. For example, Cai Fengju and others couldn't settle down for a day. Later, they joined Elder Yi and ran to the dean one after another, urging the dean to hurry up. Sending people to Kukyu Mountains, because Qi Changjai also went in, isn't this nothing to do? Even if there is a genius alchemist like Guyao, he can't rest assured. Elder Yi, I don't think the value of a genius alchemist like Guyao will necessarily be lower than Qi Changjai. The most important thing now is to send more people to protect Guyao. Cai Fengju said this, and he thought again. It's another matter. According to what I've learned, Guyao and Danfeng have had a bad relationship, and it is unlikely that he will join Danfeng when he returns to the academy. Why don't he absorb him into Wufeng? Wufeng has a large amount of eclectic storage. Guyao will definitely offer him up. With Guyao there, Wufeng can also get a large supply of medicinal herbs. Without Danfeng's constraints, he can develop rapidly. I remembered something. The Peak Master of Spirit Beast Peak suddenly interjected, there was an abnormal situation in the outer courtyard before. In the residential area of District A, whether it was a spirit bird flying through the sky or a spirit beast walking on the ground, they are all lingering outside Area A and refusing to leave. Guyao could not have refined any special medicine for spirit beasts and birds. Our 2 summits will help to find and protect Guyao, and Guyao is also very welcome to join. We have 2 peaks. Under the gesture of his eyes, the Peak Master of Lincoln Peak quickly nodded in agreement, and let the people in first. These 2 peaks have always been advancing and retreating together.